On today's episode of ATGNAT, you're the Duke! You're the Duke! You're the Duke! But you ain't number one. You're the Duke! I'm Donald Pleasance. I just got molested. I'm the president. Ain't number one. You're the Duke.
He's Blake. I'm Ronnie. All the good names are taken. Podcast 31 days, day 31. Blake, we're here. We're and we're ready to talk the last movie of the month, Trick or Treat, 1986.
I was really excited to watch this movie because I've seen the cover for it a lot. It seems like it's on every streaming device there is. And then I realized you want me to watch the one that is lesser known. It's Trick or Treat, not Trick or Treat. And this was almost impossible to find. Luckily, you spent $2.99 and rented it. And
Rock and roll! Save your soul or steal your soul. Some shit like that. I don't know. Edit.
Happy Halloween, brother.
Happy Halloween, buddy. I did not pay $2.99 to fix that up for you real quick.
Okay.
What happened was on Amazon Prime, I got a 7-day free trial for one of those Shudder wannabes, probably better than Shudder. So I just took that. I just got to remember to cancel it, which I want, which means which I won't, which means it end up being like $4.99 for the month. Another one in the books, Blake. I do have at this point 30 movies down. There was some slip-ups along the way, and we'll talk about that later. But I say we get right into it. Sammy Curr, Skippy from Family Ties, Trick or Treat. This is not lesser known than that Trick or Treat that Nick Push was talking about with the anthology of all the stories that aren't any good. This is Sammy Curr, the guy the man was trying to hold down. All 125 badass pounds of Sammy Curr dripping with rocking it out on stage, and then all of a sudden he burns the hotel down and dies. But he comes back as a ghost for some reason.
Yeah, this movie looked like it was going one way in the beginning with the high school bullying gimmick, and it 180'd us really quick to the point where I don't know. I really don't know how this is classified as a horror movie. I just okay. Explain.
I'm like the fat guy from Wedding Singer. But okay, first off, it meets the number one qualification. Scene out of nowhere for no reason. Edit. IMDb says it's a horror movie, and then we've got a rock legend dying, playing the record backwards, seanced him somehow. At least that's what Wikipedia told me, because I couldn't figure out how he came back. But the seance deal brings him back as a demon, and he's killing everybody, man. That's how it's a horror movie.
So, Ronnie, you're an 80s legend.
That's right.
Was this movie at the height of playing records backwards for subliminal messages and stuff like that? Was this at the height of that, or was it already past, or what?
I would think 1986 was probably the height of playing the records backwards for the messages that were on there. I mean, that began way back in the 70s,
40s.
Yeah, back in the 20s, man. Back in the 70s when they would roll those things back. I think this movie was more at the height where Congress was trying to censor rock music and telling you what you could sing about, what you couldn't sing about, which is why we got the Sammy Curr screaming at the Congress. They're going to bring Sammy Curr looking the way he does to talk to Congress about censorship and free speech. So no, I don't think it was. All right, Blake, you're back. I'm glad you're back. We're going to good, bad, and ugly this bad boy. Trick or Treat, 1986. Yeah. I couldn't get over the fact Ragman, the guy that played Skippy in Family Ties, I'm going to refer to him as Skippy, couldn't take him seriously in this movie, Blake, and we'll get onto it. Blake, what's your first good?
Well, it's unfortunate that you said that because I didn't do it in the style of good, bad, and ugly. I actually didn't do it, Ronnie. But I do have a few notes wrote down. So my first good is going to be obviously the soundtrack. I mean, you can't It's a horror movie in 1986 based on 80s rock. So that better be the first good that this movie brings to us, and it is. The soundtrack is really good. It's my style of music. I don't know. I didn't have time to do any research on it. I don't know what actual band this was or anything like that, but really good soundtrack throughout this whole movie. Would you agree?
Yeah, it was one of my goods as well. The soundtrack, the 80s rock ballad behind it. I thought they did a really good job of making Sammy Kerr's music sound really good so that you're not sitting there going, man, this dude's music sucks. Dude had awesome music. He had awesome stage presence. So, I mean, he was rocking it out at the end of the movie. I agree with you 100% on that.
Do you have so that's your first good as well?
Yeah, that was my first one. I'm going to bump on to the next one. The bullying is the number one bullet point I had in this movie. This movie starts off and you meet your protagonist, Ragman, Eddie, Skippy from Family Ties, and he's talking about how tough he has it because he likes rock music.
Yeah.
You think he's narrating the movie, but then you see this loser is writing a letter to Sammy Curr to tell him all of his troubles. And as he's narrating this, we get like a slow-mo montage of the bullying that he takes, be it the bullies punching him, putting boogers in his hair, messing his hair up, grabbing his cheeks, or
poking a hole in his milk.
Poking a hole in his milk, which was a great one. But my favorite was stealing his edit out of his locker. And when he goes for it, they snatch his towel off of him and throw him into the gym. And all you see is ass up trying to get back into the locker room.
That's classic, man.
And if that's not enough, the girls run over, not to help him, but to take a Polaroid of him bent over with his hairy ass there. All right, he made a couple mistakes here, Blake. One, if you're a geek, you never take a shower at school. You're going to get your not in a good way.
Not in the fun way.
Not in the fun way. They're going to kick your ass. They're going to molest you. Yeah. They're going to throw doo-doo on you. Yep. You may get pregnant. So you never, ever get naked. If you have to take a shower, you take it in swim trunks because at least you got a fighting chance of them not snapping a pic of your or cutting it off, which happened a lot in the 80s. My grandma told me that.
Yep.
Now, the way I figure it, this school is at least a week away from a major school shooting happening because they're on the verge of creating a serial killer here, which is where I originally thought this movie was going to go. They're making us feel sorry for Ragman at the beginning of it. So now we know his motive as he pretends to be Sammy Curr or gets possessed by Sammy Curr and he's killing everybody that done him wrong. But that's not what they did.
No, they 180 us, man. I thought for sure that's where they're going. I'm going to get all you punks back. You just wait and see. Okay, you're not, but I thought he was going to kill them one by one. And no, so then they go a different way, and we'll get into that later. But Ronnie, I thought, okay, he's going to save the school at the end and be the hero.
No,
but no, we're gonna have him run from the cops at the school, and then the movie's gonna last 30 more minutes for no reason at all. But yeah, I think I agree with your second point in the bullying. It's top-notch bullying. These bullies are fantastic. The only thing missing is William Zabka, or is that Babka, chocolate Babka?
Babka, cinnamon.
Okay, cinnamon Babka. That's the only thing missing. So I'll curve that into my second good, being the main character of Eddie, and I'm reading on IMDb, his last name is Weinbauer. I could have swore it was White Power when that guy, the bully, is outside of his house saying, White Power, White Power. And I was like, where is this movie going? Who's in that house? But no, his last name is Weinbauer. But I really like this guy. You're calling him, I don't remember the character in Family Ties, which I hadn't watched in 20 years. Was he Michael J. Fox's friend or something?
Yeah, he was one of the friends.
He was one of the friends? Okay, so I really like this kid.
Not Matthew Perry, but he was one of the friends.
I thought a rip Matthew Perry.
Edit. No, just go ahead. I'm sorry. I interrupted you.
You threw me off with the Matthew Perry joke. Could I be any more dead? Ronnie, you see an episode of Friends called The One Where I Drowned in the Bathtub?
I was in a jacuzzi with my soulmate. I drowned alone.
Oh, man.
Rip. Go ahead, Blake. I'm sorry.
Rip, brother. No,
Wow.
I really like this kid. I thought he was a very sympathetic character. Even if he was going to turn into a murderous killer, I was like, I think I'm still gonna. It's gonna be one of those horror movies where I'm rooting for the killer, kind of like Marty in Slaughter High 31 Days Ago.
Yeah,
But
or Marty in Not Another Teen Movie.
yeah, you're. I mean, Marty McFly. We're always rooting for a Marty. It doesn't matter what the movie is. But I thought he was I thought he was a very good actor. I don't like I said, no research. Don't know what else he's in. I liked his greasy hair look. I loved him getting his ass kicked in the lunchroom. I loved his bare ass showing in the gym in front of all the girls. I loved it. I like the character of Eddie Whitepower.
This movie's so much better if Sammy Curr possesses Ragman. For the people that are not going to know the plot to this movie, Ragman's picked on. He's put down. He's left out. And then his hero, Sammy Curr, dies in a hotel fire, which one of my notes was the picture they had of him as his last known picture on that news was great. It was sort of him just going like that right there.
Dude, the poster of him in Eddie's wall was great too. And why when he found okay, so it's traumatizing.
Looking at that poster every night. It's a sick world, man.
It is. He looks up. This is his idol. He finds out he dies. It's a traumatic thing for a teenager. Why is he tearing all his rock posters down?
He's pissed off. He's given up on rock because the rock legend is gone. So why even listen to it anymore? I mean, that's where we're supposed to know that he's an emotional kid, which that never comes back into play because he never loses his emotion again until the last 2 minutes of the movie. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Sammy Curr dies. He goes to see his friend, the DJ at the radio station, and he gives him the last record.
That Gene Simmons?
Yeah, for last record. Yeah, Gene Simmons plays a DJ. The last record Sammy Curr ever recorded. He takes it back home. He plays it backwards, and Sammy Curr is talking to him.
I want to suck your dick.
Now, along the way, he gets thrown in a pool with a 45-pound weight in a backpack after getting invited there, and he says he's going to get them all. So when he goes back home, Sammy Kerr's telling him,
I'm going to kill your college quarterback ass. I'm sorry, Bob. I just thought about that loser from Big Bang Theory.
He starts following Sammy's plan. Sammy's telling him what to do to get back at the bullies. So he's running around school, and he's avoiding getting his ass kicked. And then all of a sudden, Sammy Curr makes one of the bullies' girlfriends herself in a car and melts her ears down. And like Blake said, this dude's out in the yard screaming white power. And then Ragman walks onto the porch, and the fire from the pumpkins rise as he walks out.
The fire rises.
Yeah, I'm like, this dude's possessed. Sammy Kerr's going to possess him, and this dude's going to have power. He's going to kill all these bullies. And at the end, his friend Roger is going to have to kill him. And then Roger's going to be left by himself with nobody to watch when he masturbates. So, edit. That's not what happened. It gets to the point. It gets to the point. It gets to the point where Ragman's like, I can't do this anymore. So not only is he a edit in real life, but when he gets a chance to be a badass with Sammy Curr and take care of these mouth breathers that are hammering his ass, he pusses out on that too because he melted that girl's ear down that wanted him to drown at that party. I mean, who cares? And what the hell was that? A rodent of unusual size that was a lick because that thing was gross.
Yeah, that's gross.
And Sammy Curr comes back in the form of either this cassette where he's recorded this music on, or anywhere that this new or this last record is playing. So the end of the movie is them trying to keep this music from being played, and it goes off the damn rails, like Blake said.
Ronnie, I only have one more good, and it's going to be the comedy scenes. There's 3 or 4 little comedy scenes that really got me. There is his buddy, I forget his buddy's name. He asked he asked Roger to destroy the tape, and so Roger's sitting at his house with the tape. Sammy Curr shows up. He's threatening him, saying, "You got to play my tape at the dance tonight." Blah blah blah. All of a sudden, a lady pops up on TV talking shit about rock and roll. Sammy reaches through the TV and pulls her out. And she instantly turns to like an ash skeleton.
Awesome.
The very next scene, is that Roger vacuuming up the skeleton before his parents get home. It's like a 2-second scene. I love that. There's a shot of Eddie White Power at home on the night of the dance. He's supposed to be handing out Halloween candy. His main squeeze calls him from the dance. He hears the tape playing in the background. He's like, Roger, what'd you do? He opens the door. There's a trick-or-treater. He gives her all the candy. I love that. Just a simple, here, take all the candy, F off. And then at the end, Sammy Curr bursts out of a window of a random house as a cop is driving down the street, and he's on the CB, and he goes, 1045, we got one strange son of a bitch.
I've got my eyes on the two suspects and one strange son of a. I like most of the TV gimmicks that you're talking about. When he pulls the old lady out, they're doing the gimmick from the mid 80s where rock and roll's the devil. And if you listen to rock and roll, you are a weirdo, which is why Ragman gets picked on at school but then all of a sudden everybody's dancing to Sammy Curr at the end of it. So, I mean, it's not like every kid in the mid 80s did not like this type of music. Everybody loved it. But there's another gimmick where they've got, what's his name? Ozzy Osbourne on the TV pretending to be a preacher.
Yeah.
And Sammy Curr walks by. He drags his finger across his face and you just hear him scream on the TV like, like they're.
Yeah, it's a weird thing because Sammy Curr was supposed to come back to the high school. This is his high school where he graduated, and he's supposed to play this Halloween dance, which first of all would never happen. You're right. It's like the other kids don't like rock and roll, but when Sammy shows up at the end of the dance, they're like, hey, this imitation guy's pretty good, and they start rocking out. It's stupid.
My last good is Gene Simmons as the DJ. He is literally the best character in this movie. Yeah. And for the 5 minutes he's in this movie, it actually feels like a big deal, if that makes sense, because he gives some backstory to the Sammy Curr character. First off, he lets Ragman know, you don't need to look up to these musicians. They all have issues. I know the guy. He's too full of himself to ever consider anything but himself. If he died, it's his fault, okay? You need to live your own life, like the music, but be yourself. Don't try to be Sammy Curr because he's a train wreck. And the little bit of time he's in the movie, it's a really good movie because he plays a really good character. Hell, he's probably playing Gene Simmons for all I know, but the character is good. Every time we hear him on the radio segments throughout the movie, he grabs your attention. It's really good. The only thing that I didn't like is I wanted some closure. Let him help Eddie at the end of it, or see him die. Or I guess he had a no job clause, brother. That don't work for me.
That's not gonna work for me, brother.
But yeah, Gene Simmons was my last good in the movie. I'm gonna flip the script on you right here, Blake, because you talked about him so much. The first bad of this movie for me.
Don't you do it? It's not. How? Explain. He's the best part of this movie, Ronnie. He's the only part of this movie you care about.
At no point in this movie am I emotionally connected to Ragman, and do I give a crap that he's being picked on and put down, okay? At no point. At the very beginning of it, when he's giving his little monologue about how everybody picks on him, he's a geek. He acts like a geek. They invite him to a swimming party. He wears damn school shooter outfit. It makes zero sense. The got a army coat on. How you going to swim in that? It's a swimming party. You walk in naked. Everybody starts cheering. He's obviously got some confidence. He takes a shower at school. Just walk in naked and go to swimming. Stop being a weirdo. He's always sweating. And then when he's got the opportunity, like I said earlier in the review, to be a badass, to be a killer, he can't even handle that. All right. And then he gets the chance to stop what he started. And what does he do? He calls up Roger and says, hey, man, go find that tape and destroy it. Why not sneak out of the house and him go find it?
Because he's grounded, son.
Then he sends he sends Leslie to, what does he send Leslie to do? I forgot.
While you're remembering, can we talk about his slut mom and that guy she's dating who shows up with no shirt on? That's the winner.
He's Rambo, and he had confidence.
He had confidence. He clapped cheeks that night. Trick or treat.
He's 10 times the geek that Ragman is, and he's getting his mom. Yeah. So he sends Leslie destroy everything in the radio tower. He sends Roger to turn off the power when he actually gets to the school before he runs. He tells everybody else to do the shit. that the protagonist and the hero has to do. I hate him. He's sweaty, he's skippy, and I wish Sammy Curr would have stuck his hand up his ass and fired that lightning bolt out till it stopped.
My first bad is going to be the plot, Ronnie. I'm old school. I'm old school.
I like I'm old school.
I really like a good plot. Call me sick, call me old fashioned, but you got the kid getting bullied. If he would have just, you know, started killing these bullies one by one in a rock and roll way, like, I don't know, killing them with a guitar, sticking a drumstick up their ass, I don't care, but one by one killing them like that, even if it's not him, if he's possessed, I would have took either one of those than what we got, because what we got really don't make any sense, to be honest with you. I mean, shit.
I love how they just in the middle of the movie decided that water kills him, like he's the Wicked Witch.
Yeah, I mean, like power and water and all this, man, I don't know. Like,
Sammy Curr uses his power to blow the door apart, Blake, at the high school. He takes 2 steps in, Eddie throws a basket at him, and he trips over it and falls over into the toilet.
I really like Sammy Curr. I like the way he looks.
Yes.
You know, I think everything about that is cool. And, you know, if we go with my idea, then that we don't get that Sammy Curr. So, you know, I'm kind of torn, but I just think the plot could have been cleaned up a little bit better. I think the movie should have ended at the Halloween dance at the high school. That's where he was supposed to play. That's where all this was building up to. So why does the movie extend beyond that? I know why. McBride told us why, Ronnie. Filler. We need 25 more minutes to release this thing. But yeah,
Coughing all month.
You okay, bud?
I've been coughing.
Hey, listen. If anybody deserves to cough, you know I love it when you cough. The worst thing that happened to this show was you finding that mute button, because I love to hear you cough over other people talking. Let me tell you something. If anybody deserves to cough after what you've done the last 31 days, it's you. I'm so proud of you. Look at you over there smiling. Everything you've accomplished this month. 31 fantastic reviews, averaging 150 views per upload. Legend.
Dozens of likes.
You're wearing your Halloween shirt.
Gotta be like the rest of the losers, man.
Why you gotta go there?
That was for you.
Your next bad.
Oh, no, look, why should we focus on the bad? But I am. Leslie's in this movie 5 minutes, Blake. She shows up at the end, but we're supposed to think that Leslie and Ragman have some kind of relationship, but at no point do they have a relationship, except when she invites him to the pool party after she gives his ass photo back to him. And then he shows up at the pool party and she's not there. So I thought she set him up, and I thought she was going to be the one dating the main bully, but she's not. It's the one that ends up at it in the car. So when they throw him into the pool to kill him, she has to dive in there and pull him out because he was trying to drink all the water in the pool. Then he says he's going to kill everybody. And then we don't see her again until
she's about to be raped in the bathroom.
Yeah, she calls him and says, "Hey, are you coming to the party?" And he says, "No, I'm grounded." And then you find out her and the main bully have a history, because he's like, "You're going to get on his again? I knew I'd be the president." And then at the end of, they're kissing. So, yeah. I mean, she serves zero purpose other than to show that this loser could get a girl. My last bad is the Sammy Curr storyline that we were just talking about. What the hell's happening? We don't even know if he killed himself in some kind of satanic ritual so he could come back as a demon, which is a lot cooler. How cool would it have been for Ragman to be turning that record backwards, bring forth a demon like Trantor that pretends to be Sammy Curr and tells him to do all these horrible things because he's so in love with Sammy Curr that he'll do them, and he's getting tricked at the end of it, and it's not really Sammy Curr, it's just a demon from hell. I thought the movie would have been better if he would have been possessed like Christine. And at the end, we find out that Ragman is really the one doing all the killing. But I'm not going to focus on the negative, Blake. Sammy Curr was awesome, even though he's 130 pounds. Him blowing through that stereo speaker at the end of it and rocking out and owning every bit of it. And then his guitar turns into a lightning bolt gun and he starts evaporating kids left and right. I mean, yeah, he's not the best villain in the world because water kills him, but he's sort of like the Electric Man villain because he can jump through outlets everywhere. It was great. Sammy Curr's great. Trick or Treat's great. I love this movie.
I thought he was more like Ernest, and Ernest goes to jail shooting lightning out of his ass. But one of my favorite scenes is when he's on stage and he turns around and shoots his drummer, and then the other guitarist is like, "Yeah, I gotta get the hell out of here." But they didn't run when he was shooting people in the crowd. They just kept playing, baby. They kept rocking out. But when he turned the tables on them is when they got out of there. My last bad is the name of this movie is Trick or Treat. And I didn't know why this movie was called that until the final 12 minutes when you realize it's Halloween night and the main song Sammy Curr is singing at the dance has the words trick or treat in it. Other than that, I was like, why didn't they name this like High School Rock or High School Horror Rock and Roll Nightmare on Elm Street? I don't understand. But then at the end, oh, it's trick or treat. He's got a bowl of candy he's handing out, and they're at the Halloween dance. Okay.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of things they don't tell us, but my favorite my favorite kill is the asshole that is dressed up like a snowman or whatever, hanging off the top of the school when Sammy Curr fires a lightning bolt right up his ass and he explodes everywhere. That's it. That's Trick or Treat, 1986, Blake.
I didn't realize that was a human. I thought that was a decoration that exploded.
No, that's a human.
Fantastic.
I forgot something. The ugly. Who's the ugliest person in this movie? I'm pretty sure we'll have the same one.
Yeah, I think we will too. You go first.
I got Sammy Curr as being the ugliest person in this movie. He is hideous. And the little bit of makeup they do him on at the end with a little burn on the side right there. I think he's like a dancer. He may be like a playwright or something like that. I think he's like a stage guy, but I may be wrong on that. I don't know. Sammy Curr is definitely the ugliest. Yeah, that's what I'm going with.
Well, even though he's a 10 out of 10 on confidence, I'm going with Mom's boyfriend who shows up shirtless with the bullets across his chest, dressed up like Rambo. I'm going to go with him. He's the ugliest piece of shit in this movie.
It says right here, the band Fastway and composer Christopher Young did all the music in this movie. So that answers your question about who did it. Blake, that'll wrap it up. It has been a magical 31 days at this point. I'm hoping, look, towards the end of the month, as we're speaking right now, having tons of problems with Adobe Premiere, finalizing some of these last videos. But I've had a fun time. I want to go ahead and thank everybody that came on the show. I want to thank Tim for being super MVP. Dude did double-digit reviews and did them well. The response to Tim in the comments has been very big, so we'll have to revive Macho Theater and bring Tim back for everybody. I want to thank Boz for doing Zombie Wednesdays.
I thought you was going to say I want to thank Boz for doing nothing.
Boz did Zombie Wednesdays. He did a real good job. He watched some very horrible movies. I want to thank Jay for coming in at the end. He needed somebody to talk to while he drank that drink and talk the blob. Darren, I want to thank him for coming in and doing 3 good movies. It was all his idea. I didn't even have to beg him this year. He was like, I know you need help. I want in, so I let him in. Shane Emerson stepped up and wanted to do a review, and he did great. So,
man, I had people texting me after that upload. I didn't even watch that upload when you did it, right?
Yeah.
I had people texting me like, Shane Emerson is a star, and Shane Emerson's going to be huge when he starts his own channel. I got to watch that episode. This guy's $1 million. He looks like $1 million. He sounds like $1 million. We created a star, Ronnie.
Got that loud ass fan in the background. Bud from the Shape of Horror podcast. Want to thank him for coming on. He did a great job in the faculty review. Very funny. And Nick Push. Nick Push came on and did a couple of reviews, and Nick's always great. He's always there to help, and he offered to do 15 or 16 more while doing his own channel. So, guys, did I miss anybody, Blake?
No, it was really cool that you put their logos down there every time you said their name, though, man. That was awesome.
That didn't happen. I'm through editing for the month. Hit us in the comments. What were your good, bad, and ugly for Trick or Treat 1986? Tell us what your favorite review was for the month. Hit us in the community section for that. And I missed you this month, Blake. I didn't want to do it without you, but everybody got to have a little fun. And hopefully we move on from here. And in 6 months, Blake, when we come back, because I'm burnt out from doing all these shows, when we come back, hopefully you guys come back and talk with us, because we got to start getting the ball rolling for next year, Blake.
Yeah, we do. I I've already made some of my list. I text you my list already. I want to do Poltergeist 1 and 2. I want to see if there's a Trick or Treat 2. I want to see what Sammy Curr's up to. November, Ronnie, are we gonna shit out all kind of Thanksgiving material like everyone else? Or are we gonna throw a curveball? What you got planned?
I don't have anything planned for November, so
I really, and it's all because of Nick Push. I really want to watch Dutch. Now, whether or not we review it, it's up to you. But I really want to see that movie.
Good, Bad, and Ugly on Dutch coming in November. We'll hammer it out. Probably want to do Planes, Trains, and Automobiles too. That might be our two big things for the month. And then we hit December. You know what December means. We got our first live stream ever was December when we did Silent Night, Deadly Night. So I say we bring back the live stream in December for Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. Garbage Day.
They made a sequel?
I mean, like 50 sequels.
Okay.
So the one good thing about this month and not having you here, which sucked, is I got to watch a ton of shot on video movies, Blake, ones that you would never agree to watch. I pretty much broke Darren on day 30 when he said that was the worst movie he'd ever seen. And I mean, I've seen him multiple. It's like, dude, that ain't even the worst movie we watched this month. You need to see Heavy Metal Massacre. What was the worst movie we watched this month, Blake, in a review, you think?
That's tough, man. It's hard for me to say because I actually didn't watch them, but that Heavy Metal Massacre was horrible. Absolutely horrible. I don't care what anybody says out there in YouTube land. The movie Zombie, the Benicio del Toro presents Zombie or whatever it is, that's a terrible movie. I don't care what kind of legendary status it has. That movie sucks. Best part of that movie is when Jaws shows up. You and Tim did some really bad ones. Really bad ones.
It was great.
It was great. It was a good month.
Missed you,
I mean, shit, Ronnie. This is our 7th year doing this. That's crazy to think about. That it all started in your dining room and on the audio podcast and just hanging out once a week or whatever, and then making October like our big WrestleMania type month, and then the show evolves into random topics, and then random topics with movie reviews every single week, and then you going viral arguing with Jamie Lee Curtis shuts down the audio podcast, and that brings us to YouTube, where we meet really, really awesome people. Here we are. Not trying to get sentimental.
But you are. You're getting sentimental. It's been fun. I love October, and as much work as it was this month.
You did really good. You did really good.
I think it helped. I think I really enjoyed it. We met her. I mean, we had smashed the goals that I had set for us about 20 days in.
We met our quota?
We met our quota.
Catalina wine mixer.
Effing Catalina wine mixer, man. So now we've got to finish our Friday the 13th series, Blake. So we'll get back on that with Friday the 13th part 7. We got to holler at our boy Vin and ask him what the hell his problem is. He's going on everybody's channel now.
And that's people are really going to find out whether or not we're real reviewers. Are we going to be nice to our buddy Vinny, or are we going to be honest with this Never Hike Alone 2 review? You wait and see.
I'm always honest. I'm too honest. That's what. So for Blake, I'm Ronnie. And we'll see you guys when we see you.
Do-do-do.